Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to go over a fix to reset the stats and to restart the game. So currently when you die, your game freezes and you can't do anything. You can't restart the game. So we're going to fix that. Okay, so in your game, so currently if you play through, and you'll notice I've added a few things here. So this is one of the items, which is just the start. Oh, I was playing around and I reset where my character was. That's fine. Let's just fall off here. This is my natural reset anyways. So currently currently I'll die first and do it that way. So when you die and you try to restart the game, you can't restart the game, right? And we can't continue, we can't do anything. And the reason that is because our don't destroy on load, it's not, right? So we're not destroying our stats, which means that we are permanently at 0 health and 0 lives. So we need to fix that. Similarly, if you are playing and you restart the game from, or at least the way it's set up now, right? So if I collect 4 cherries, hit escape, restart the game, I have 4 cherries. Then you can just keep adding to it, hit escape, restart the game, and so on. Right? So that's one of the things that we're going to address and fix. Basically it's fairly straightforward. What we really need to do is just go into and we do need to do this in 2 spots. So currently the way we have our the UI set up is we have 2. Right, and this was where afterwards thinking about it, I probably should have just done one UI or one screen, essentially one canvas, and then just activated the different buttons based on whether or not the you're in pause, game over, and so on, similar to how we activate the game over text. But regardless, that's fine. So what we do have though is on our game over canvas, we have the game over pause. Actually, not the game view canvas, the game over pause canvas and our finish screen, right? So we have these 2 different kind of panels that pop up. So in our game over pause, we have the script, game over pause script. So we want to edit it. And this one's fairly straightforward because in this, we only have a resume, which we really just want to continue the game. So we don't want to do anything to it. And then quit, which quits. And pause just puts us into the pause when you hit escape. And then when we restart the game, we want to reset our stats, right? So regardless of when you restart the game from being dead or restarting the game from having a bunch of cherries and lives and so on, we want to restart the game, which means we want to reset the stats. So to do that, we just need to get our permanent stats, right? So remember, these are the stats that we're using. So we're setting at the beginning of the game, we're setting our health to be 3, number of lives to be 4, number of cherries to be 0. And then in our game over pause, what we want to do is get those. So PermanentStats.persist.current health equals 3. So when you click the button restart game, it's going to say, okay, the PermanentStats.persist current health is 3, the number of lives is 4, and so on, right? So it resets those stats. And that'll fix that problem. Now the other thing is on our finish level, right? So let's just go to our finish screen. I'm just going to turn it on so we can see it. Right, so the finish screen, we have also the restart game, which we're going to do the same thing. And then we also have a replay level, which you can kind of modify, right? So maybe you don't want to be able to just replay the level because the same thing can happen as I showed you with the restart game, right? You can go through, so let's turn this canvas off and let's go back to the scene view. So just for example, in this scene, when we play the game, right, you play the game, you go through, you collect whatever 18 cherries and then just, okay, replay level. Oh, I guess actually in that case you would have to get to the flag. So you can go through, collect all the cherries, get to the flag, replay level, and then you have whatever it is, let's just say 20 cherries. You go back through, get to the flag, now you have 40 cherries, replay, and so on, right? So that loop continues. So what you might want to do is when you replay level, you need to check to see if you have a certain number of cherries, and then it costs you cherries to replay the level. Eventually what you can do, and with the cherries, what we will be doing is if you have 100 cherries, you add a life, right? Which is just an easy script that you would add into where we have our item collector. So anyways, for now though, so in our finish screen, so again, we have this script, the finish level buttons. So we want to fix those buttons, which again, I've already sort of commented out some things. So the first one, to restart game, we're really just copying the same things over. So we want to restart game, so we want to reset our permanent stats back to what they should be. Now for the replay level, what you could do is do a check. So you can only replay the level if there are more than 10 cherries, or well, 10 or more, right? So if the permanent stats dot number of cherries is greater than or equals to 10, then we want to, what do we want to do? So we want to subtract 10 cherries. So if there's more than 10 cherries, or 10 cherries, then permanent stats dot persist dot num cherries minus equals 10, which is going to minus equals 10, it subtracts 10. And then same thing within this if statement, right? We want to, if there's that, then we're going to subtract 10 cherries and we're going to reload the scene. So all I did was really just, I added this if statement and I moved. So previously this was just by itself in the replay level. So I've just added this if there's more than 10 cherries, subtract 10 cherries, and then put that there. Else, we're just going to return, which is just going to do nothing, right? So when you push the button, nothing happens. So we'll save that as well. And when you go in and play through now, everything should work, right? So if we play the level, so I have 2 cherries, hit escape, restart the game. It didn't reset my stats. That's because I didn't save this, and I know I didn't save this because this is not green, indicating that that was saved. So save game over pause. So now I've saved that. Okay, so now when I do that, so collect a couple of cherries, hit escape, restart game, so it resets my stats. Right, same thing will happen so if you go through and die, so let's just die quickly again. Right, so actually, I guess restart game is going to do the same thing, right? So restart game, it resets your stats, so everything's back to normal. Similarly, when I go to the end flag, so I have 2 cherries, go to the end flag, replay level. So I can't replay the level, which is what we want. I could restart the game, which just resets me, which is good. So we'll go back here. So again, replay level, and you can check this by, so if we go to so where you have your don't destroy and we have our stats. So if I set my cherries to 15, I can say replay level now, and it's subtracted 10 cherries and I'm replaying the level from where I have my player initially set, which again, I just need to move it back to the beginning. So that works great, that's fine. A few of the other things that you may have noticed in here, I was playing with the gravity scale, so I found 15 was very high, and it was very hard to run. I missed the jump there. That's fine, let's just die, we can get up. Right, so I found, and I died there anyways because I stopped under it. But anyways, I found that it was hard to get out from under or to run under the rock. So there's a few things. You could move the rock higher, or as I did, I just set the gravity scale to 9, which now I can kind of run under it and make it under. There is the issue where you can sometimes jump over the trigger. So initially I had just the trigger on the ground. So what I did was I added, and this is where it's important in the prefab. So I did this in the prefab. So I went into, again, my prefabs. Where's my prefabs? So in the prefabs, I did this in here. So you double click on it, and then I created just the one. So I basically did this in the prefab, and I have the one trigger thing, the same thing. But then what you can do for each of your rocks, depending on where they're positioned, so you can make a bigger make that trigger bigger, right? You can just edit it by clicking this, and then you can edit the trigger and make it bigger. So now when you jump, you can't just jump over that trigger, right? So the trigger was down there. Similarly with this one, I don't know why it didn't trigger when I kind of jumped there, but anyways, so that's kind of another sort of quick thing to do. And as I've always said, right, treat this like a sandbox and play around with the different settings, play around with the gravity scales. Sorry, to change the gravity scale of the rock head as well, you do need to do that in the script. And in the script, it doesn't matter if you're on any of the rock heads, because you're changing the script itself. It's going to change everywhere, right? Because the script is attached to all of the rock heads. So it's here where you want to change it. So I set the gravity scale to 9, not 15, and it falls a little bit more slowly, and it allows you to kind of get past the rock before it falls on top of you. So anyway, so that's it for that. That's a few fixes. I don't know if you noticed, I was able to jump through the platforms. I will do a video on that, how to set that up. And I did add a few other little game objects here. So just a start arrow, which you can get from the art folder in checkpoints, and then in start, there's the moving arrow animation, and then you do the same as we did for all the other things. You'd need to slice it and so on. So that's it for now. I'll be doing a few videos to expand on some things that you could add to your game.